the importance of understanding the game and the enemy you're playing against, and how me spending all of this time this year watching the Sidemen Among Us videos was a 4D chess move. Because can I tell you guys, today I had a breakthrough, and it all makes sense why I've been so upset this whole year. I had a breakthrough because I finally now understand exactly what and who my opponent is. And I'd made a prayer to God. I was like, God, I'm not moving forward with anything until I understand my opponent, because that's how I've always played games. Whenever I play games, I study my opponents. As I beat them by finding their weaknesses. And because people don't think about their opponents, they just blindly play the game, like how people are blindly walking around in life. Then when someone comes up against them or puts moves against them, they're lost. That also happened with me because I didn't realize that, that I need to apply that logic that I use in games into life itself, And so I was looking for an opportunity, right? And obviously with everything else as well, right? And all these videos I've been making all these years. I'm doing a whole new series tomorrow, you guys. I would have done it now, but I'm actually going to make sure that I sleep well. I'm going to make sure I eat well. I'm going to be on top form for this series because I'm going to explain it all to you, because now I understand my opponent, and now I understand the game. I'm going to tell you guys, because I feel like I'm a teacher through and through. So I like to share my experiences with you guys because I want you to be able to apply it to your own life. And I like to give practical advice because as a person, especially as a believer of Christ, a lot of times people will get to a place, but they don't tell you how they got there. Well, here you go. Here it goes, right? So the reason why I even got so into the Sidemen Among Us videos in general is because of a few reasons. Number one, it's a game where there are imposters and there are crewmates, right? So there's two people trying to sabotage, or however many people, couple people trying to sabotage everything, and everybody else working towards the overall good, right? But we don't know who these people are or even how many they are that are working against us. Now, for me, that's been my life anyway, but that's society, right? The average individual, I believe, is like a crewmate. And then you have obviously the devil, the number one imposter, who is going to, as the Bible says, a devil, an angel, a demon disguised as an angel of light, right? Pretend that he's there along crewmating with you, yeah. And then, but is in reality is trying to kill you. The devil, the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and wants to. Oh my gosh! Did I invite the Holy Spirit? Holy Spirit, please be with us. I almost feel like starting the video again. Did I invite? I do it every time, so I can't remember if I did. Oh, Holy Spirit, did I invite you? Oh my gosh. We'll see. If I feel that guilty, I'll actually just make a new video because I feel bad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so, enemy comes disguised an angel of light and, is going around making it look like he's a part of us, or that they're for you, but in reality they're killing you. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. The enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Okay. So I was like, this is perfect. We have 7 different personalities, and I can observe 7 different personalities in a game where there are some imposters and crewmates, right? And see how differently they play in either of those roles, see how the different combinations of personalities. It's basically like the perfect set room for observation for me to see how people think and how different people act, because all 7 of these guys have 7 completely different strategies, and I'm going to describe to you guys exactly how it works and exactly how these things taught me about the world at large, right? So shout out to this. And I was in the top 2%. That's how you know it's real. I was in the top 2% for all people watched more Sidemen this year. And I've watched all of the Among Us videos. I've watched that playlist. They're all at least like an hour long, like 40 minutes to like an hour and maybe 20. And there's like hundreds of them. I've watched that playlist at least like 8 times, probably more. Some of the videos I've watched at least 9 or 10 times, like it's a joke. So here's what I'm gonna describe to you about the different guys and the dynamics, because I feel like there's so many lessons that I've learned. This is what I'm saying to you guys when I say that, God is very much outside of a box. See, like he's outside of our minds. He's got a mind of his own. And so you got to be open-minded to how the Lord might do things in your life. So for me, I just like to watch their videos when I mainly when I was having period pains or when I was just stressed and I needed to laugh because I was dealing with this world. Little did I know that I was going to get so invested. So I'm invested now, anyway, fully. So here's how it happens. I'll go through all the 7 guys and I'll talk about like what type of character they play in this game. And yeah, we'll just go there. So let's start off with Simon, okay? So Simon, and it's funny because a fan actually made a whole spreadsheet about wins, losses, numbers of times you had this role, that role, whatever. And it was exactly in line with everything we all thought, and also the boys thought, but it also threw them off when they saw their own stats and made them want to improve their game, which again, I'm saying to you that this is why you reevaluate, you self-evaluate. Anyway, so Simon is very like, so the guys in the game, and this is what people do in the world, everything that this happens here is exactly how the world is. What people do in the game, right, is people think that Simon is just really smart. But this is the truth. There's 2 specific things about Simon. Number 1 is that he's very observational. Of all of them there, he observes how the rest of them play the most. So he's the one who could tell you exactly and the most accurately how all of them play. So it's not so much that he's so intelligent, but he knows how to play them at their own game. The other thing is he doesn't mind winning and he doesn't mind being the bad guy. And that's because he's been made out to be the bad guy so many times. And also he enjoys winning. He wants to win and he doesn't see the point in losing just for being made out to be the bad guy, even though he doesn't like it. So he already is more inclined to play a game and to play a harsher game because he already knows that and he wants to win. Simon is somebody who enjoys winning and he's really good at stuff. And they always say that in the other videos. They're like, Simon's just really good at everything. I'm like, Simon loves to win. It's not that he's really good at everything. Simon loves to win, so he's willing to put into the effort. So I'll give you an example. When they started, the first video of them playing the Simon Among Us games, when they all came into it, they were all teasing him for the fact that he was like level 15 and they were all level 1. But the truth is, everybody had the option, if they wanted to prepare for the game. Just like I say, with anything else, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's whatever, you have the same exact opportunity to utilize the things that are in front of you. And if you choose not to do so, don't become salty when somebody else did, because they were like, oh, you're such a swear. Any of them could have been a swear. And actually, he was smart. He was like, I'm playing a new game I've never played before. So let me get to understand how this game works. That's just wisdom, right? So, but people say Simon's he's just really, what would you call it? He's just really smart. And again, because they're just shoving off to the side that it's because he's really smart, now they are not thinking about what they can do to do better because they've just decided that the reason he's better is because he's really smart. Boom, the world. Let's move on to somebody else. Let's go for Harry. So Harry is actually really good at the game, but the thing is, he allows the other guys, because he's the youngest and he's had his issues with, he's all over the place and everyone's always teasing him for being a bit autistic and not thinking before he speaks. So people don't really expect a lot from Harry, even though Harry's YouTube channel that he started out with in the beginning was one of the best. They've all said he's the best at editing of all of them, but and he's also the youngest. So they kind of just treat him like the silly young little brother who's never really going to be the one to be winning. But actually, if you listen, and I have to give it to the editor of the videos who made is the reason why, because he cuts it so that you can see what everybody's doing from their own standpoint and what they're saying to each other. So it's so good. That's what makes it so good, because you know what this person was thinking in that moment and that person's thinking in this moment. You know who's lying when it comes to the emergency meetings or when somebody's been killed. You know it all because of the way it's edited. So it's edited really well. So Harry, because of the fact that people are already shoving him to the side, and they do ignore him. He says a lot of things. A lot of times he spots the imposter correctly. They ignore him. They don't listen to him. So he also coils back a little bit and says, you know what, I'm going to go and try and just, do my tasks, kind of like how people do in the world. I'm just going to go and live my life and just do my tasks, right? And then, if anything, he'll find one thing he thinks he can do that will be helpful, because he's allowed them to get into his head that he's not that good at it, even though he actually is. So he'll maybe go and sit on the cameras and just watch the cameras, and in his mind, he's like, well, at least if I can just see something, maybe I can help. When in reality, he's actually right a lot of the time, but he's allowed everybody else and everything else that's happening and what people are saying to get into his head. which is kind of similar also to, actually no, let's not go there. Let's flip to the another extreme. You got KSI. Now KSI is playing very much 4D chess in general in life. He's my most disappointing member of the Sidemen at the moment. He's the only, I wish he wasn't doing what he's doing now, because I feel like he's ruining, because like obviously they're known to be very, silly and whatnot, but like they weren't caught up in anything kind of heinous, and I feel like he's now getting in those crowds. But anyways, KSI plays 4D chess with the world, and that's what nobody's realizing, because he realized he could monetize. Instead of being offended by people making fun of him and laughing at him, he can monetize the fact that people want mocking him, because people will be there in the comments like, "Oh, JJ is so stupid at this game. JJ is so bad at this," and it is funny sometimes. But I know he's playing a game because he's playing a character. He says KSI is a character. And anyways, if you've listened to a lot of the things he said, like his music and his documentaries and stuff, he's clearly like a very different person, like than his character, if you know what I mean. But people don't pay attention to that, because people just look at what they can see. So they all just are like, even the boys I think Simon's the only one who really gets it as well, because again, he's a strong game player and he's observational, and they're very close friends. They're best friends. Obviously they were best friends since like secondary school. They started out together. Simon used to video for JJ, and I think that's why they're actually so close, despite the fact they're kind of different, quite different types of characters to the public. So KSI both just trolls and does whatever during the game. He's actually quite good at it when he wants to be, but he opts to play poorly and to do annoying things, because why? People are going to be all up in the comments. The boys are going to get annoyed. They're going to have clips. They're going to make money. It's genius. They know what they're doing. That's what I'm saying. He's playing 4D chess, and he knows that if I do that in this game, people are going to believe that I'm an idiot. So I'm going to play as an idiot, because that's actually me playing them. They're actually the idiot. That's what I'm saying. He's playing 4D chess. So that's how KSI plays, right? Then we'll take it to Ethan, who's another different extreme. So Ethan is, bless his heart, the third imposter, as in he's always guessing the wrong person. But the main reason I believe that he guesses the wrong person a lot is because he really second guesses himself more than anybody else. And I think it's because he gets overwhelmed by being in the environment of all these different people. And he's the number one person who is the number one fan of Simon. He's always like, if anything, if he's confused about what to do, even though he knows Simon could be the imposter, he'll be like, well, Simon, who do you think it is? And if Simon votes that person, Ethan's voting that person, right? Ethan doesn't stop to think for himself. He's like the type of person I was saying who he's written off that Simon's just so intelligent. He's just so good. So he doesn't even try. But when he does try, when he thinks for himself, a lot of the times he's right. But then because he always thinks that whatever he must think is right, he ends up guessing wrongly. And then he ends up becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then he gets overwhelmed by the fact that he's wrong, and he gets called the third imposter in the comments and by the others. And, and they will be like, don't be a third imposter, don't be a third imposter. So he kind of just, what's the word? He kind of like, I don't know what the word is, but so he just malfunctions altogether, and then he's just panics and he's like, I don't want to be a part of this game, guys, get me out of here, like, and he just doesn't want to be involved. He's like, vote me out. Every time he's like, vote me out, because he just doesn't want to participate, because he finds it all so overwhelming. And what was I going to say? He finds it all so overwhelming. And he's another one who, when the game starts, Ethan is the number one there who will say, I'm just going to do my tasks. He's always just doing his tasks. All he wants to do is his tasks. And for him, if he's done his tasks, he's done all he needs to do. He's not trying to find no traitors or imposters. He's not trying to do none of that. He's just there to, even though that's the aim of the game, because of how much he's overwhelmed by the other characteristics of the people that are there, he just gets on with it. Interestingly enough, though, and this is again an evidence of life, is that when he now had a daughter in real life and now has a woman, and he now has a house that he runs, that he feels responsible for, you can see that his confidence is slowly building now, because he feels like there's somewhere he's being validated and acknowledged. You see how I'm saying? I really observe these guys so much. He feels like he's being validated and acknowledged somewhere else, and it's giving him more strength coming into the game. So these days he's a lot less, and also it means he takes the game less seriously, because he's like, at the end of the day, he's got his family here who he's looking after in a very beautiful house with whatever that he's doing, and his girl is now fiance. Are they married now? They might be married now. His fiance, anyway, and his daughter Olive, they she stays at home with Olive, basically, is what I was going to say. So now he feels like, well, I've done the damn thing, and he was also the first one to have a child. So I feel like all of those things, they add to his confidence, and therefore he plays a bit better now. And also he kind of is gives himself the opportunity to try more, where other times he would just assume he's going to lose, because he's the one who always assumes that every single time Simon is going to be the imposter, when in reality it does happen a lot of the time. And again, sometimes your own beliefs of somebody else, if it can actually produce that reality, because that's what I think happens as well. Because they all think that Simon's going to win, he ends up winning. It's like their alignment with his energy of all of the everyone thinking he's going to win means he does win. That's why I always say that haters and people that come up against you and people that, you know, think whatever or make assumptions, you need to believe in yourself as well, because if you're out here believing in somebody else and not in yourself, you're just adding to the belief that's in the atmosphere already for them, if that makes sense. So that's how Ethan plays, and so now he's getting a bit more these days. He's trying it out a bit more. He's if he's imposter, because before, when he'd be imposter, he wouldn't even kill. He would be too anxious to kill because he'd be scared he'd do it in the wrong place. Whereas Simon would be like, screw it, and then just kill like 4 people one after the other, and then just lie through his teeth during the emergency meeting. So let's go to a different type of character. Let's go Vikkstar. So Vikkstar123, or Vic, right? Vic is also obviously highly intelligent. Now the thing about Vic is he is a very, very nice guy. He's a very nice guy, and he's not somebody that needs acknowledgement from the world. I feel like because of how his career has come up and how he is in his life, as in he for 6 years straight was doing 3 hours a day on YouTube. He also still did insanely good in his grades at school. Now he's again married. He's now DJing successfully, and living the life that he wants to live. So Vikkstar doesn't really need the win. He doesn't really care. He's kind of just very content. So when Vikkstar wants to destroy you, you will be destroyed, because he has more than has the capabilities to do so. He just really doesn't care because he's so well established in life. They all are, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying for him in particular, his take on things. And also I feel like because where he's more empathetic maybe than somebody like Simon towards the other people who beat themselves up, right? So whereas Simon is kind of just like a bit more on the tough love side of things, as in like I know you can do it, because he would know they can do it because he's observed them. He's kind of got less empathy for people feeling sorry for themselves in the game, right? Whereas Vikkstar is like, me winning isn't worth seeing my friend that level of upset. Whereas Simon might think, well, it's just a game. If you see what I'm saying. So let's switch to say somebody like Toby. Toby, on the other hand, is for me one of the most interesting of the ones there, because Toby, when he's playing the game, and let me just for a second. When Toby's playing the game of Among Us, right, and their personalities don't change, by the way. Do you know what the craziest part of all of this is? When they do the Sidemen Among Us in real life, so they're playing in real life, they play the exact same way. The exact same way. This is why I like to watch people in games, because people play games like how they are in life. And that's what they do. All their videos, they're exactly the same. They play the exact same way in real life, and they are the exact same, like their characteristic types are, during the Sidemen videos, of which I've watched loads. So Toby is an interesting one, because Toby's the one who's like, oh, I'm a Christian, and that's like his thing. But the irony of this, and this is exactly another type of character of people that exist in the world, another character. Toby is a type who everybody loves in the world. Everybody's like, he's so sweet, he's the most caring, he's the most whatever. Whenever there's any opportunity to do anything to help anyone, he's like the one going above and beyond to be seen, to be kind, and be this kind Christian. So when he's playing the game, I don't like to see my friends arguing. He says stuff like that. I don't like to see my friends arguing and all of that. But there's an element of that being a bit of a facade, because in real life anyways, so it's so a bit because so like another thing about him is obviously there's a lot of sidemen videos where they get really drunk, like the sidemen pub golf sidemen. There's a lot of videos like that, you know. They did a drink bang. I don't know if anybody else has done a drink bang, which is where they just all ordered like a stupid amount of alcohol. When I say a stupid amount, I mean they were like, because they ordered for each other. Was it the other one? No, that was a different channel's video. Yeah, no, yeah, they all ordered just like a stupid amount of drinks, like 12 different bottles of these champagnes, and like it was insane, right? But yeah, so they drink a lot basically, or they used to. They say they do when they do, and then they don't in general, if that makes sense. But then they also have their scales, because again, Harry and Ethan are also very much more the drinkers. JJ doesn't drink anymore because of him trying to work out. Vic does enjoy a good drink. Simon doesn't mind, but doesn't really need to. Toby doesn't drink because he's a Christian. We're going to come to Josh as well. Josh we'll come to Josh, right? So Toby always says how he doesn't drink because he's a Christian, which I find so funny, because he's the one who's got the reputation to be slanging that thing the most out of all of them, and they all always talk about it, and he always tries to say, guys, don't say that, as if like they know behind the scenes how he really is, but he's kind of putting on, to a degree, a facade. Now I agree with that, because when he's playing the game, yes, he gets stressed and he's like, I don't want to see my friends fighting, I don't want whatever, and then, you know, he's like, oh, I hate being imposter, like I don't want to da. But when he chooses to do so, he can be just as brutal as somebody else. He can play the game just as good as somebody else. So Toby's an interesting one for me, in that regard, of like, he wants to be seen as I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like he wants to be seen, he's as nicey more than he is as nicey. And again, that's why maybe characters like Simon don't care necessarily to pander to that in any type of way, and actually they started to call him out for it, and there was a whole discussion that happened, because they were getting sick of him always, like during the game, getting so stressed and feeling sad and feeling like everybody's always, you know, whatever the thing was. So there's that. So then that's Toby, but he's actually quite good at the game. But again, he's the type, again, who will do as does the world. We have a task here, we have an opposition, but we're just going to focus on doing the tasks, even though these imposters are going to kill us. We're just gonna do the tasks, right? So he's another one who's like, I'm just doing my task. So whenever he even gets a whiff of a what do you call it, accusation, he gets really upset. That's why they was talking to him about it. Like, it is also just a game. If people think that you're sus, you're sus. It is a game. The game's the game. And this is what I'm saying again. The game's the game. So then let's go on to Josh. I think it's the only one I haven't mentioned. Yeah, is it Josh? I've done Harry. Yeah, Harry, Ethan, Vic, Simon, JJ. Yeah, so it's just Josh. Now Josh I like a lot, because Josh, as a person, takes a lot of heat because people say that, you know, he's boring, even though Josh is the one who produces movie level 3-hour Sidemen Sundays. You always know when it's a Josh video, because it literally looks like a movie, and like the degree, and they've all said since the beginning that if it wasn't for him organizing the money side of things as well, they never would have got rich. So he's very frugal in terms of KSI is like, will go and be throwing around, you know, like pounds in whatever. Josh is extremely frugal. It's hard for him to spend money. And again, I noticed all of these characteristics in the video that they did the first time when they really had money as the Sidemen, because they did a video where it was like the Sidemen go and spend 100,000 the Sidemen go and spend 100,000 on themselves, and so they each had like 10k. And again, their personalities played out exactly as one would think. KSI goes and stands somewhere, gets everything in notes, just throws out money. He has money. He's going into shops in London. He's throwing money. Toby, Mr. Goody, I'm gonna get 4 Apple Macs for my mom, my sister, and my this. I'm gonna get such and such and such for this and that and this, and buys himself like maybe a packet of Skittles, you know. Josh could not spend the money. I think Josh maybe spent like, he was struggling to spend the money because he's the like responsible one. He's the big brother character figure here, and he's very highly intelligent. Because let's not forget, they're all good in their own right. They all have a career in their all. They all had a career in their own right before they came together. Ethan again will go and say he won't spend loads, but he'll be like, I deserve a treat. You know, I've earned this. You know, and you feel like he has to justify it. And explain out loud why he earned and he justified having this. Harry doesn't care because Harry likes to spend money. Also, Harry has money. They all have started with different levels of money. They all have different levels of money, you know. And then Simon's kind of just like, yeah, this is cool, get himself some cool stuff. He's happy to spend some of his money. So it's just funny how their characteristics, again, play out perfectly. And then you have Vic, who, again, Vic is like, has money. Because a lot, when they came into it, I think it was Vic and KSI had the most money at that point of that video. Vic will happily spend some good money. And they all do, by the way, I just want to say that they all naturally, are very generous. So when I'm talking about giving and whatever, I'm saying outside of the fact that they're already extremely generous. Like they all, I think, had given out things. I think, yeah, there was like, some of them, they were buying like supplies for like homeless people, like giving them gift cards, giving them like sleeping bags and things. And so they all do that anyway. So that's just the standard of all of them. I just like to point out. But I'm just saying that on the scale of that, we definitely have some of them who are way more happy to spend the money. Some of them who so Harry's probably the most happy Harry's probably the most happy. Then maybe, no, I would say Harry, then JJ, because Harry's known to not really like to give to charity. Harry, then JJ, then Vic, then Simon, then Ethan, then it'd have to be Toby, and then Josh. Have I said all of them? Anyway, so Josh in the videos, he's very much true to form in the sense that he's like a true older brother type character to all of them, in the sense that you get the energy from him that if he wanted to, he could obliterate them, but he's just happy to be there, and he's happy to see that things are running smoothly, that they're making decent content. So if anything, he'll do silly things for the sake of content, but he's also one that when he decides to play the game is extremely good at the game, and very extremely good. But for him, his priorities in terms of playing this game are more important. It's more important for him, right, that what am I going to say here? It's more important for him that everything is running smoothly, so everybody's okay. There's good enough like content happening, and things are moving in a good direction overall. And so he just kind of sits in the middle somewhere, where he's good enough that he's there and he's in the game, but he's not playing anywhere close to what he's capable of. And also he's kind of using the fact that he doesn't really play as hard as he wants to his advantage, so that when he does, it's kind of unexpected, right? So that's kind of his gameplay. So that's why I'm saying that they've all got very different personalities when it comes to how they play the game. And it's really interesting because every single one of them, the way that they play represents exactly how things are and how people are in life. And what I find most fascinating, as I said, is the fact that the people who are and who aren't comfortable playing as an imposter, right? Because all of them, a lot of them, like I said, prefer to just do the tasks if they can. And so somebody like Vikkstar, for example, if he is the imposter, he'll be like, I'll just be a decent imposter. Maybe I'll just get a couple kills. Like he doesn't really want to be imposter or not want to be, because he understands that it's just a game, but he'll decide in the moment whether he wants to, again, destroy everybody, which he really could, or if he's just going to not even kill anybody. And that works vice versa. When he's a crewmate, he'll decide if either he's going to just coast along and kind of play really hard, or whether he's going to take the complete responsibility onto his shoulders of making sure that we find the imposters, right? And so when he does that does happen. He's extremely well played, right? And then with somebody like KSI, obviously because of the chaos of it all, loves to be the imposter, because then it's going to be great content, first of all, for the channel. He gets to go around and do silly things, etc., etc. And he hates when he's not the imposter, right? He hates when he's not the imposter, because then he feels like all he can do is his tasks, of which sometimes he really struggles in the task, which is also really funny. So he'd rather actually be the imposter every time, because then first of all, he always says, yeah, I get to kill. Like he gets to kill, he's excited. On the complete flip side of that, you have the likes of Toby and Ethan, who freak out at the idea that they're the imposter, and you can almost feel through the screen the heaviness that they now feel of the responsibility to do something they don't feel capable of doing, and they absolutely hate it. They hate being imposter. They absolutely hate it. They always want to be the crewmate, and they take a lot of pride in actually just doing the tasks, right? They like to just do the tasks. Harry is in the middle. Harry, if he's the crewmate, he finds it a bit boring, especially because no one's going to listen to him. If he's an imposter, he's obviously going to go for it, because why the heck not? And he's not shy to kill, because again, the likes of Ethan, he can go, that it's always clear, it's always easy to start to figure out who's the imposter, because different people will or won't kill. So like if JJ is the imposter, he's absolutely killing. If Simon's the imposter, he's absolutely killing. If Vic's the imposter, he might be killing. He's probably killed a few. Similar if that's Josh. If it's no kills at all, it's most likely Ethan or Toby. And also Harry goes either way. Sometimes he's loads of kills, sometimes he's not, but more than likely a couple of kills in there. So it's really funny. Like, I just think it's so fascinating, because this is like how people are. Is there anybody I haven't mentioned in terms of the imposter versus crewmate? I've said Ethan, Harry, Toby, Josh. Josh is again 50-50. Like, if he's imposter, cool. If he's crewmate, cool. He's just happy to be with his mates, whatever. Simon, I feel like Simon is just as happy with either. I feel like because either way he's going to do his best. So if he's imposter, he's going to play the best imposter. If he's a crewmate, he's going to be the one like paying attention to absolutely every single thing that is happening and being said. And because I love it, because they'll be like, where were you? What were you doing? Well, I just walked past you and such and such. It's so good, you guys. It's so good. Just alone as like in terms of being funny. Even just in terms of like watching it without thinking into the game, it's good. Like, it's funny because, yeah, like I said, the way it's edited and you can see what's happening and how they all interact with each other and whatever. And also there's a whole bunch of roles in there. So like a jester, like, I don't know how well you guys know the game, but like a jester, you have to try to get voted out, and if you get voted out, you win. Or like what other roles are there? There's why can't I think of any of the roles right now? I can't think of the roles, but there's a whole bunch of roles as well. So that adds layers, as you can see. I'm sure you can see. And there's crewmate roles. There's imposter roles. There's neutral roles, which you could look at one way or the other. So there's like a sheriff role, where if you manage to shoot the right somebody and they're actually an imposter, then they're dead. But if you're wrong, then you're dead. So it's really interesting. That's what I'm saying. Like, and there was so much that I just took away from life and gameplay from watching these guys play and studying like every single one of them and how they play, and also how that actually plays out in their actual real life situations, because I find it fascinating. Yeah, I've really evaluated these guys. I find it fascinating how Simon was the first one to get married, then Vic. Josh was in the relationship for the longest, but because he has an overwhelming anxiety, again, which goes back to him not wanting to spend money, he's been in the longest relationship. He was with his girl for I don't know how long, and he's always said he wanted to marry her, but he couldn't overcome the idea of proposing, which I find fascinating. Very, very fascinating. Ethan obviously accidentally got pregnant. It was one of those, well, I say, is it accidental? Well, yeah, it was kind of accidentally got pregnant. Well, I can't remember. There's a bit of a blurred line between them, but he was overwhelmed at first, but then realized that actually this has given him something that makes him live a life that he's happy with. Because Ethan lives with Faith. She stays at home. They have a lovely little, she's into like horses. They have a whole bunch of animals. They're gonna have a whole barnyard but one day, because she's like, babe, I got a horse, I got another horse, and then he's got whatever, and then, you know, so he's very content. Like, he's the type, he will tell you, I'm just happy to go home to my family and enjoy spending time with them, and, you know, whatever, spending time with my daughter and whatever. Harry's more the type of, was in a relationship, struggles, very awkward, a lot of social anxiety. So his life that he likes to live, he likes to spend his money, he travels a lot. He's got a very vast, because he travels a lot, and he has a lot of social anxiety. Well, it's funny because he has social anxiety, like in terms of he's just awkward around people, but that's just because I feel like he doesn't understand social cues completely, which I can so relate to, because I don't know who wrote the rules of these stupid social cues that exist. I think it's stupid. Why have we all decided there's one way that you're supposed to behave in society? Like, anyway, whatever. So that's how his life is, which is, again, you know, he's coiled back because of, you know, maybe some of his experiences, because it's well known he had a really horrible breakup. He's got people always saying he's awkward, teasing him, calling him autistic. So coils back a little bit in life as well. Kind of just likes to do his own thing. So a lot of the times, no one knows what Harry's doing, as Harry's off in the clouds, like traveling, going skiing and going to Venezuela and all sorts, right? And then you have KSI, who obviously outwardly does a lot of things, you know, for the plot, like a lot of things he does for the plot, but in reality, behind the scenes, you know, he actually, you know, he's somebody that I think really enjoys seeing himself succeed and pushing himself to the limit. And I feel like the reason for that goes back to what I said before. He kind of thrives off of people thinking he's stupid, and because he thrives off people thinking he's stupid, he kind of enjoys doing stupid things more and using that to monetize doing the things he actually wants to do. So things like now he does in his real life, like boxing, Prime, or his music, all that type of stuff, because everybody's ridiculing him and watching his content, commenting on his videos, laughing at him, and it's been happening for so many years, and he's realized he can monetize that. Now he's able to do more and more of the things he wants, so he plays more and more into those things, and there you go. That's exactly how it plays out into his life. Then you have, who else have I missed out here? There's so hard to think of all of them at the same time. Josh. And yeah, Josh, I don't know what Josh really does. Josh is like, because they all like stream, obviously, they all stream and they all upload videos. So I'm saying they're extremely hardworking, because they upload a Sidemen Sunday every single Sunday. They've done a Sidemen Sunday every single week for 6 years, right? And these are high level videos. There's like 30 people sometimes working on these videos. And they all upload. A lot of them upload. Like Simon uploads every single day on his channel. I think Vic uploads every single day. He used to upload 3 times a day. And they also upload on multiple channels. They also upload on their 4 different channels altogether, all edited, all these different things, where they all show up to do different things. Josh, I think, streams quite a lot, but Josh is more a lot of the behind the scenes. So I feel like he's seen less, but that's because he's working on these insane production level, movie level things. And then, like I said, Ethan is just comfortably living in his I show up to do the Sidemen videos. He does less of his own personal stuff because he's got what he needs to do. He's got his life together. He's happy. Harry's not so interested in the videos anymore. When he started out was when YouTube was really early. He was really popular and he got quite famous and quite rich early on. So I feel like there's the idea of chasing all of that isn't so much that big of a deal, which again I think goes back to his gameplay on Among Us, because obviously they all came together in the beginning because of playing games. And so I think a part of him, even though he is recoiling because of how everybody's treating him, he also doesn't really care, because he has what he wants to have and he's just going to be a crewmate and do whatever and just finish the video, if anything. And he also will just sometimes, if they're all annoying him, he'll just leave the game. Or he'll just like go off the screen to go and like put something in the dishwasher, since no one's listening to him anyway. Like, he's very just like, you know what I mean? Then that's kind of what I feel like his personality is in real life. And because they also don't really respect him as much, what really is the point of him taking the time? And again, like I'm saying, that's maybe why he does it in real life, because I'd imagine if they're having meetings about what they're doing or what's happening, that obviously somebody like Josh is always going to be the driving force. And it's very much known across the board that Josh hands down plans the best Sidemen Sunday videos. And even though they all do them, we all know that you're not going to compete with a video by Josh Zerka. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, their lives are all really reflective of their personalities, and also, you know, and what kinds of people that they play the game as in Sidemen Among Us. And that's why I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love the Sidemen. I actually love them because, yeah, they're just them doing this, but not even just that, but them actually being a representation of winning in life and playing the game the way that it, like playing the cards of the game that you have, playing the pieces that you have on your chessboard, because each of them in their own way has found a way to do that. You know what I mean? Ethan might not be feeling as confident in a room full of other guys like that, but feels confident in himself as a family man. And actually, that's what actually makes him happy. So it's actually a win. It's not a loss in any type of way. He's found his path of winning and he's there and he's happy with it. You know what I mean? Or like Vikkstar, similar thing. He's found his path of happiness. He can DJ. He can spend. He lives a much more hidden life than a lot of them. They again have different levels to how much they share their personal lives. You know, and so he's there. He's living the life he wants to live. He's doing the things he wants to do. Toby is quite happy, although Toby and Harry are the only ones that are single, which I find really fascinating. That Toby, being Christian, is single, but it's just saying a lot. But you know. But he's also very happy in the sense that he really wanted to pay back his family, and he really values having the family that he already has. So for him, the fact that he's done that is a massive deal. And so I feel the other things are less important than anything else, you know? So again, he's doing the tasks. As long as he does his tasks, he knows that he's finished doing all the tasks. He's contributed to the team. He feels comfortable. He feels happy. You see what I'm saying? Josh makes sure everything's in order, makes sure things are going forward, you know, has his own situations and his own places where he feels comfortable and safe. And he sticks to what he knows and he's happy with what he has. Doesn't need to do anything too extravagant, but, you know, can do the things he wants to do. That's exactly the same way he is in the game. If he really wants to go for it, if Josh Zerka wanted to blow a bunch of money, he could, but he probably won't, but he could. And if one day he decided he wanted to, he would, although he might get some anxiety, which again is reflected in the game, because sometimes the reason why he's not playing as well as he can, or he used to, is he's let it get to him that people in the comments were saying, you know, over time that he wasn't playing as good as he used to play in the beginning. And I feel like the words of what people were saying were getting to him and sparking his anxiety that we all know he has severely, because he's talked a lot about how he has anxiety. Or he hasn't talked a lot, but he's talked about it, you know. So for him, maybe that partially plays into the game as to why he may not play as well as he could play, but also plays into his life, because like I said, they were literally, the reason why I'm mentioning their relationships as well is because they literally were teasing him, like literally teasing him for the fact that he'd been with Freya for like, I don't know, like 9 years and hadn't proposed to her, because he intended to from the beginning, right? And so, or he intended to for a long time when they lived together. She was the one who worked on Sidemen clothing in the very beginning. So like as a couple, they're almost like the oldest, like the older brother and his girl that's always there, like kind of helping them out. So yeah, and and I also find the girls that they're with fascinating as well, you know, because Freya matches Josh's energy. She's a lot more to the background in life, likes to be involved in back office stuff. She still does her thing. She streams as well. She makes content, but she's not somebody that really is out there trying to be some kind of big personality, right? We don't know who KSI's girlfriend is, because I think he knows that he's built his career off of his being ridiculed. So I feel that he wants to protect her from what he's going through, because he's made this happen. So because people are used to just, you know, firing arrows at him, I feel that part of it for him is that, and also she works a normal job. He always says she works a normal job. I think a part of that for him is also like, she's like lives a normal life. Me and her live opposite lives, and I think it's kind of his only safe space anyway, because as I said, a lot of other people that might know him are kind of teasing him and whatever, and he's decided to be with somebody, like people would be like, wouldn't you be with somebody famous or whatever? Well, yeah, but you've missed the point of his character. Ethan and Faith is one of my favorite girls on the internet. That's why I know so much about her house, because she is so funny. Absolutely one of the funniest girls on the internet in the UK. And she does make videos as well, although she's been on TikTok, although we all know how that story's ending. But yeah, like, so she and him, they just have a really good banter going on. She's really funny. I think she keeps Ethan's life quite interesting. And also, you know, the fact that she respects him so much as well, I think is why he's with her. Who else do we have? Vikkstar. We don't know a lot about his girl. I think, again, because he doesn't need people's validation. Also, that he likes to keep his private life private. I also believe that's because he has experienced a lot of, you know, criticism. He knows the system. And I think that for him, like I said, he just wants to be back where he is, like back here. He'll go out and do his work when he needs to do it, go out and DJ. He's living the life he's happy with. And I'm missing anybody. Obviously, Harry is single because he got his heart broken and now he's really awkward and life is really difficult for him. So I feel like he's struggling to counteract, to figure out what to do with that. I feel Toby isn't honest enough with himself to form an intimate relationship. I feel Toby's not honest enough with himself to form a proper intimate relationship, because I feel like he battles between like feeling like he cares so much about. Also, I think he's another one of those people that lacks in boundaries of like your family that you come from and the family you create, which I feel like he probably is one of those where he's so family oriented that he's not thinking about his own family. So he's there. And obviously he's got a reputation now as well, which is going to work against his ability to be dating and everything, because of the way he's coming across. Also because he says that he's a Christian, which means that the girls that are going to be interested are going to be less, because everybody already knows this about him, even though they also all know about him that he's slanging his thing in the background, in the facade, and it's a little bit of facade. So maybe that's affecting what women think about him, because he's not presenting himself as who he truly is. You know, and then you have who am I missing? Josh, and Simon and Talia, obviously another extreme. Talia is a freaking superstar. She's a singer. She's a huge singer, superstar, performer. So I feel like they're very well matched together. You know, he's very forward, likes to win in life, likes to do whatever. She sings, whatever they do. So I feel like they match well together as well. So there you go. Again, like in contrast to maybe a Josh and a Freya, where Freya's more to the back, likes to do things in the background, does a little bit of things like streaming, because Simon's wife, I should say, Talia, she also streams and stuff as well. Which again, interesting that Josh's girl streams, Simon's girl streams, but KSI's girlfriend's in the background, Vikkstar's wife is in the background. It's all just so interesting. But then Ethan, despite his personality, has a girl who's online, but then again, the type of online content she makes is kind of more of the average folk type of content, like the not so I'm trying to be this huge superstar. It's more like I'm trying to be an average girl's girl who's talking to the average girl kind of vibes, you know. So she talks about stuff like what she fed her daughter for breakfast this morning, or what she's packing for holiday with Ethan when he finally comes off of thingy. So that's what I'm saying. There's so much to like learn and from observing, and that's why I'm saying to you guys that in the game of life, one must actually observe their opponent and also understand the game that you are playing here. Because so many times in the Sidemen Among Us games, the guys who are the crewmates, right, who prefer to play a crewmate and just be crewmates and do nothing else, do you know what they would always forget? That whatever happens, the traitors, the imposters, the mafia, whatever we call it in all these various games that we play, those imposters are still going to kill you. So what would happen is, if everybody decides that they're just not going to try and figure out who these imposters are, then the imposters are just going to kill everyone. And this is what I'm trying to say about the devil. And this is what I'm trying to say. I've been obsessing over trying to figure out what he is doing and what is this game of life that I'm playing. What is the goal? What is my opponent, and how is my opponent? Who is he, and how does he operate? Are you guys seeing what I'm saying when I said I played 4D chess with this one? And I can't believe it, because obviously it's December. I'm thinking, this is what I've done all year. And now I can so easily, comfortably tell you so well. And you can predict now. Like, it's funny because they are so predictable now. Because the way we play games, the character of who we are, whether you want it to be there or not, it's there anyway, because there's nothing you can be other than yourself. And even if you try to put on a facade, all that will happen is the struggle between the two will just make it harder for you to play the game and make it easier for people to find that you are playing, what game you are playing, and what character you actually are. So anyways, you guys, there you go. That's my nugget of wisdom for the day. I think that was so good. But yeah, stay tuned, because I'm going to do a series, guys, because I'm so excited that I finally feel like I understand this freaking game that the enemy is playing, and I finally understand the enemy. And yeah, he's not happy about it, obviously, but I did what I had to do to get here. But yeah, so on that note, if life's a game, let's play to win, y'all. Let's play to win. God bless you. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.